I'm Julie Andrews, and I'm here to help you solve one of life's great mysteries: how to listen to a podcast. Podcasts bring all the wonder and fun of radio programs right to your phone. I even have my own podcast with my daughter Emma that's for the whole family. It's called Julie's Library. Listening to any podcast, including ours, is as simple as just a couple of taps on your phone, and I can show you how. Almost every smartphone has a podcasting app built into it. Search on your phone for podcasts, and you'll see the podcast app pop up. Perhaps it looks like this, or this. Okay, now open it. In your podcast app, you will get all kinds of recommendations for shows you can listen to. You can also search for a show if you know the one you want. Here, let's search for Julie's Library. When you find a show you love, be sure to subscribe so the new episodes will always be waiting for you. If listening on your phone is not the best fit for you, there are other ways to listen. You can try a podcast's website and listen there. Or if you have a smart speaker in the house, you can ask it to play your podcast. You would say, "Play the podcast Julie's Library." Hello, I'm Julie Andrews, and I'm so glad you're here. Precisely. Trust me, dear friends, you too can master enjoying podcasts. Happy listening.
Welcome to PlayStation VR. Okay, you've hooked up your PSVR. Now, it's time to get ready to play some games. Set up your PlayStation camera where it'll have a good view of the entire play area. Mounting it on top of your television is usually best, but you can also set it up at the base of your TV. With either placement, be sure the camera is not obstructed and is able to read the headset's tracking lights, as well as the lights on your DS4 or Move controller at all times. While you're enjoying your PSVR, you'll need to establish a play area of 6 feet by 10 feet. The camera's position should mark the center line of your play area, which looks like this. For your safety, you'll need to clear out all of the furniture, toys, exercise equipment, pets, and other obstacles before you put the VR headset on. For added safety and peace of mind, you should create a nice buffer zone outside the play area. And please stay seated while enjoying your VR experience. The 9 tracking lights on the PSVR headset track your movement in correlation with the camera during your virtual reality experience. If you happen to stray outside of the play area, you'll receive a pop-up warning prompting you to return to the suggested location within this designated space. Try to limit any light sources directly behind you. They might throw off the headset's tracking capabilities. It's also a good idea to close any curtains or shades. Now, it's time to get you in the game. Keep your controllers handy. If you have the CUH ZVR2, you'll first need to connect the stereo headphones to your VR headset. When you're not using your headphones, use the earpiece holders on your VR headset to store them out of the way. The volume and mute buttons are located on the bottom left side of the scope, as well as the power button. If you have the CUH ZVR1, the stereo headphones plug into the jack on the inline remote. There, you will also find the volume, mute, and power buttons. If you're using on-ear or over-ear headphones, these go on over the PSVR headset. You'll likely be doing things like fighting intergalactic wars and defeating ancient evil. So you want your headset to have a snug but comfortable fit. There are 2 main buttons you'll be using to adjust the size and fit of the headset. The Scope Adjustment button, located on the scope's top right side, and the Headband Release button. If you have the CUH ZVR1, the Scope Adjustment button is located under the scope on the bottom right side. First, use the Scope Adjustment button to extend the scope. Then, press the Headband Release button to extend it and adjust the fit. With the headset now on, use the adjustment dial and back to fine-tune the size. The Scope Adjustment button helps the fit by allowing you to pull the scope inwards towards your face so you can easily place it where it's the most comfortable. To take the headset off, simply press the Headband Release button again. If you wear glasses, just put the headset on over them. Be sure to use the Scope Adjustment button to bring in the scope for a comfortable fit around your glasses. If you want to use the headphones, remove them from the earpiece holders and place them in your ears. The first time you use PSVR, the headset will need some adjustments. Just do what our little friend here tells you in the PSVR's UI setup. He knows what he's doing. To recalibrate or change your settings later on, press and hold the PS button on your controller to bring up the quick menu. And select Adjust PlayStation VR, or go to the Settings menu for more setting options. If you want to play a normal PS4 game or watch a movie, you can use Cinematic Mode for the best experience. To enjoy Cinematic Mode, you may need to reset your screen's position. To do so, face forward in the direction you are sitting, and then press and hold the Options button to reset the screen position into its ideal place. Once everything is calibrated, you're good to go. Now, launch a VR game and enjoy the PSVR experience.
First off, let's talk about what consent is. Consent is agreement from all parties to engage in sexual activity. And why is this important? Because where's the fun of having sex if it's not enjoyable for everyone involved? So, asking for permission before touching or hugging someone, or checking in as things spice up with stuff like, is this okay? Do you want me to slow down? Is the way to go. If they say no, they want you to stop or slow down, you need to listen. and never try to change their minds or put pressure on them. Sex without consent is rape. Also, reading body language is important. When someone is relaxed and keen, you'll probably feel it. Equally, tension and hesitations are signs of no-go. Finally, don't feel that after trying something for the first time, you need to do it again, or every time. Moods can change, so lower your expectation. Keep asking and not assuming. And believe me, this will help you have better sex, as it will help you connect more with your partner.
My name is Mark, and I'll show you how making training videos can go from this... Look in the camera, James! We need updates ASAP as possible! To this.
Anyone can learn the art of giving and receiving feedback.
So,
But
to
that
do
doesn't
that,
mean it's
you'll need one computer, a basic internet connection, and a tool called Synthesia. Now, let's dive right into it. You can see that I have an interface that looks like I'm making a slide deck. Only now, we're making something better, a video. I'm not a designer, so I want to start with a template. There are plenty of L&D templates here. Let's pick this one, a classic training scenario. Now, first thing I'd usually do is select an avatar. We have over 125 of them, and each of them is unique and speaks more than 120 languages. Now, if I want to put a personal touch on my video, I'll choose myself. And yes, you can make your own avatar with just a few minutes of footage. Okay, let's pick Lola here. The next thing is pasting the script here in the script box. Now remember, it can be in almost any language. And now let's select a tone of voice as well.
Look in the camera, James!
Calm, definitely calm. Okay, now we could do some editing. We can change colors to match our brand identity. We can upload our logo and brand assets and spice things up with relevant images and videos from Shutterstock integration. Then we can add text on screen and position it the right way. We can also add some music and take advantage of a built-in screen recorder to, well, record our screen. We can also trim and crop the recording to adapt it to our scene. At the end, we can animate the elements to achieve that polished look of the video. Now, if you want to dive deeper into Synthesia, perhaps just book a live product tour on the link below the video. So, once we have our video, we get to press the Generate button.
Anyone can learn the art of giving and receiving feedback, but that doesn't mean it's easy or comes
That's it!
naturally.
Once your video is generated, it already includes the subtitles, and you can share it with your team to get feedback. You can also download it as an MP4 and embed it anywhere, in a course, internal academy, or your LMS. Okay, now oh, look at this. Ellie wanting me to edit the script and create a video in Spanish. Let me show you how to do that in just a couple of seconds. I go right back into the video, copy and paste my translated script in, and press Generate Video again. That's it! Now it's in Spanish. If you can't wait to get started, sign up for a personal $30 plan or book a live product tour with us on the link below to find out more about how you could turn all your Zoom recordings into polished training videos. If this feels like science fiction, it's not. It's just the future, a little bit ahead of schedule.
For years, people have asked how we make our videos. So, let's finally talk about it. How to make a Kurzgesagt video in 1200 hours or more. First things first, we need a topic. Our potential topic list is already endless, and every time we research something, it grows longer. So we just work on whatever we find exciting at the time. This could be something serious, fascinating, personal, or just really stupid. The variety is half the fun. We want to explain complicated things in an easily graspable way and make sciencey topics fascinating and beautiful. But we also want to tell stories and express how we feel about the universe from time to time. Laying the foundation. Script. Our research begins by reading books or scientific papers and by talking to different experts who point us in the right direction. We want to have a fact-based worldview, and our videos are trying to reflect that. So we often have to change our view on an issue while working on it. Usually after a few weeks of researching, we start writing. A script begins with a rough first draft that's then rewritten and edited over and over again. To make sure we don't misrepresent something, we ask experts to fact-check and correct us. Writing is the bottleneck for our videos and very hard to speed up. Usually, finishing a script takes between a few weeks and literally years to complete. Let's visualize. Illustration. When the script is ready, we begin sketching out the video. We try to think of visual metaphors, transitions between ideas, and decide which scenes need the most attention. On average, 200 panels need to be illustrated in Adobe Illustrator. Although we have built up an illustration library, we still do most illustrations from scratch to give our videos a more unique look. The general idea is to find the right images to the words in the script to explain as clearly as possible, while also having interesting things to look at. Also, here we include all the visual Easter eggs. In total, 2 to 3 illustrators spend 8 to 12 weeks illustrating the video. Now it's my turn. Narration. When the whole video is illustrated, the narration is recorded in a small recording studio on a Neumann TLM-103 microphone and Pro Tools. It's important to keep the flow, so I try to get one version done and then go back through, retaking paragraphs and sentences until they feel right and a full version is ready. It's alive. Animation. Now the scenes and audio need to be animated. We make things move in Adobe After Effects, and recently we've begun experimenting with Cinema 4D. The first thing to do is take the illustrated scenes apart and organize them. The hundreds or thousands of parts are then imported into After Effects. Each character is rigged so we can move them more naturally. Aside from a few plugins that help us save time, every single thing that's moving on screen has been moved manually. So 2 to 3 animators animate scene after scene for about 8 to 10 weeks in total. Ending on a high note, music and sound design. The final step is the music. Every song is original music composed to the finished video to create a unique atmosphere and to highlight the important parts. You can listen to all of the songs on SoundCloud and Spotify. The icing on the cake are the sound effects. Many of you might not even really notice them, which is a shame because they really add an additional layer. So try watching a video with headphones if you want to get the full depth of it. All of these steps happen in parallel since we usually work on 2 to 4 videos at the same time in various stages. What we haven't mentioned are the countless revisions and edits. Every few days we sit together and review our work and tweak it until it feels just right. And that's it. At least 1,200 hours for a single Kurzgesagt video. As you can imagine, making videos for thousands of hours as a big team and then putting them on the internet for free is a weird business model. Over the years, we've relied on a number of different things to stay afloat. Commercial work for NGOs, startups or corporations. Sponsorships and grants by companies or organizations. We struck a deal with Funk from German Public Broadcasting to revive the German channel and with Wix to start a Spanish channel. But the reality is, we can only do what we do because of you. Our 2 most important sources of income by far come from your direct support, merchandise and Patreon. So if you want to help us stay afloat and keep making more videos, you can directly support Kurzgesagt by getting something beautiful from our store or by becoming a Patreon and joining the Bird Army. Don't feel obligated though. Watching, engaging, or sharing our videos is already helping us a lot. But if you want to support us directly, thank you so much. You're making our videos free for everyone. You are enabling us to practice and improve, to stay independent, and to work on ambitious projects that would be too scary or too big otherwise. Kurzgesagt did not start with an end goal in mind. It began as a personal project because it felt good to make something with time and love. And this is still true today. Making these videos is our goal. Doing the work every day and getting better. To make science beautiful and interesting. Thank you so much for sticking with us for 7 years and from our first subscriber to the 10 millionth. This journey has been so wild and so much fun. And we can't wait to share the stuff we're working on right now with you. In a year, or maybe 2. We want to make meta videos like this from time to time now. If you want to ask us questions that you want us to answer, you can do so on Reddit. Link in the description.
Okay, let's say you have a PDF file that needs editing. Notoriously tricky, right? Well, Dropbox makes it easy. I mean, sure, you can swap pages 3 and 5, like this. But you can also add text and fill in forms. Or add a quick signature. You can insert pages, delete them, or rotate them. Better. And save a copy or replace the original PDF. Easy, right? Thanks, Dropbox.
How to set up and install your Google Nest Doorbell, wired. We'll show you how to set up and install your Google Nest Doorbell wired in just a few simple steps. First, you'll check that the doorbell chime you already have works with the Nest Doorbell. Then you'll set up the Nest Doorbell in the Google Home app. Install the chime connector puck, and then install the Nest Doorbell. The Google Nest Doorbell, wired, is designed to work with low-voltage doorbell wiring. If you're replacing an existing doorbell, use our compatibility checker to verify that your current doorbell wiring is compatible before you install it. You may need to replace your existing doorbell transformer, especially if you live in an older home. Google Nest Doorbell, wired, requires a transformer of 16 to 24 VAC, 10 to 40 VA. If you are using a wired chime, your chime needs to be rated for the same voltage as your transformer. Check to see if your existing transformer meets these specifications before you start installation. Look around your house. Transformers are typically installed near the main electrical panel, inside the doorbell's chime box, in the garage, utility room, or attic. If you're unable to locate your existing doorbell transformer, or if you need to install a new one, you can contact a Nest Pro or qualified professional to help with installation. After you've verified that the doorbell wiring is compatible, you'll follow the steps in the app to install the chime connector puck inside your chime box. Then you'll take the Nest Doorbell outside and install it. Once the Nest Doorbell is connected and power is turned on, the doorbell conducts its own internal system check to make sure it's sufficiently powered. If it is, the status light will appear blue. If it's not, the status light will blink yellow, which means your doorbell may not have enough power to stream video. Contact a Nest Pro or qualified professional to help with installation. Everything you need to set up your Nest Doorbell wired is included in the box. You may also need a pencil, a No. 2 Phillips screwdriver, a power drill, a 3/32 inch or 2 mm drill bit, a 1/4 inch or 6 mm masonry bit, a rubber mallet or hammer, and a ladder if your chime is mounted in a high location. Make sure you have a Google account set up and the Google Home app installed. Go to accounts.google.com to set up an account. Then download the Google Home app from the Google Play or the Apple App Store. Add the Nest Doorbell wired to the Google Home app. When prompted, you'll scan the QR code on the back of your doorbell. The QR code is also printed on the front of the Quick Start Guide. The app will now guide you through installation. Here are some important steps to note. If you have an existing chime, you will need to install the chime connector puck to make sure the doorbell works properly. If you don't install the chime connector, it could damage the Nest doorbell. Go to your home's breaker box and turn off the power to your doorbell and chime. This protects you and your equipment. Try ringing your doorbell, if you already have one installed, to make sure the power is turned off. Now remove the cover of your doorbell's chime. Take a picture of the chime's wires so you can reference it during installation. If you previously installed a chime connector, you'll need to remove it and use the one provided in the box with your Nest doorbell. The chime connector puck is required to make sure the doorbell works properly. If you don't install the chime connector, it could damage the Nest doorbell. Follow the steps in the app to select how many wires are connected to your chime. Most doorbell chimes only have 2 wires, but yours may have more. Tell the app which wires you're replacing. Look for the labels on the terminals where the wires are attached. Labels are usually on the terminal connectors or next to them. They can also be found on the inside of the chime cover. Now, select the location of the doorbell you're replacing. The app will show you where to connect the chime connector wires so you connect them correctly. Follow the steps in the app to connect the chime connector wires. The wire colors are not important, but where they're connected is. Let's walk through a simple wiring example to replace a front doorbell with the Google Nest Doorbell wired. Remember, because chime wiring varies so much, you'll need to follow what the app tells you to see the correct wiring instructions for your chime. You can also contact a Nest Pro or local professional to help with installation. In this basic example, loosen the front and trans chime terminal screws where you see the wires attached. Make sure to keep these wires in place. Take the chime connector puck included in the box and hook each wire clockwise around the front and trans terminal screws. Tighten the terminal screws, then gently pull on the wires to make sure they're securely in place. If the terminals are not labeled, loosen the 2 screws where you see wires attached and make sure to keep these wires in place. Follow the same steps in the basic example to install the chime connector. Once you've finished wiring, find a place for the other end of the chime connector. If there's room, you can place it inside the chime box. Make sure the connector doesn't touch the chime or any moving parts, or your chime may not work properly. You can also attach the connector to the outside of your chime cover. Just remove the adhesive backing. Now you're ready to install your Nest doorbell. You'll install the base plate and then attach the doorbell. If you're replacing an existing doorbell, once you disconnect the wires, make sure to bend or tape the wires so they don't slip back into the wall. You also want to make sure the location you chose has a 1-inch or 2.5 centimeter space above the doorbell. This is the space that you need to use the hex key when you secure the doorbell to the base plate. Now check the doorbell camera angle. If you want to change it, use the wedge provided. It can help position the camera to capture the area you'd like to view. Position the base plate on the wall with the tab at the top, pointing towards you, and mark the screw holes. Make sure the wire hole is below or near the center of the largest opening on the base plate. If it's not, it can prevent your doorbell from locking onto the wall plate and working properly. If you're using the wedge, you'll attach it to the wall first and mark the screw holes for the wedge instead. If the wall is uneven, use the spacers provided to help make the surface level. The spacers need to be mounted horizontally. With the tab on top, feed the wires through the base plate and attach the base plate to the wall with the long wall screws provided. If you need to, drill a pilot hole using a 3/32 or 2 mm drill bit. Be careful to not over-tighten. For hard surfaces like stucco or brick, use the included wall anchors to attach the base plate or wedge to the wall. Drill a hole for each anchor using a 1/4 inch or 6mm masonry bit. Then, gently tap in the anchors with a rubber mallet or hammer. If you're using the wedge, feed the wires through the hole in the base plate and the wedge. Then use the long wall screws to attach them both to the wall. Use the wire connectors provided to wire your doorbell. It will help avoid an electrical short. It doesn't matter which wire goes into each connector. Straighten the wire ends if needed and trim them so there's no more than a 1/2 inch or 12mm of exposed wire before inserting them into the connector. Now use a Phillips screwdriver to connect the wires to the doorbell. Push the wires into the wall, making sure the wires are positioned down, towards the bottom of the doorbell. Now attach the doorbell to the base plate. Align the doorbell to the holes in the top and bottom of the base plate, making sure the camera is at the top and the button is at the bottom. Push the doorbell in, then down until you feel it lock into place. Tighten the hex security screw with the included hex key to secure the doorbell to the base plate. The screw should sit flush with the top of the doorbell. Make sure to not over-tighten. Test the doorbell to make sure it's securely mounted. If you ever need to remove the doorbell, loosen the hex security screw with the hex key, making sure to keep the screw attached to the doorbell. Then slide the doorbell up and off the base plate. Keep the hex key in a safe place in case you need it. If you misplace it, you can use a 3/32 or 2.5mm hex key. Now turn the power back on. Your Nest doorbell will turn on and the status light on the camera will appear blue. If the status light blinks yellow, your doorbell may not be getting enough power to stream video. Contact an electrician or Nest Pro to increase the voltage. For now, your Nest doorbell will work as a standard doorbell. Now follow the steps in the Google Home app to finish setting up your doorbell. You'll connect your doorbell to Wi-Fi and then select its location. You should now see live video. When your doorbell is recording or monitoring activity, the status light is green. When the light is blinking green, a home member is viewing the live video stream. If you're using an existing chime, follow the steps in the app to set the chime duration if you have a digital chime. When you turn on visitor announcements, you can use Google Assistant-enabled devices, like speakers and displays, sold separately, to announce when someone is at your door. If you have Nest Aware, sold separately, you can even announce visitors by name with familiar faces. When you can't get to the door or you're away from home, use quick responses to respond to someone, like, "Just a sec, we'll be right there," or, "Hi there, you can just leave it, thanks." To set it up, select the language you'd like to use. Your Nest doorbell comes with 3 hours of event video history, so you can go back and see a recording of what happened. If you want more video history, try Nest Aware free for 30 days. A Nest Aware subscription, sold separately, comes with 30 days of event video history. Nest Aware Plus comes with 60 days of event video history and 10 days of 24/7 continuous video history. To learn more, visit the Google Help Center.
Hi, my name is Richard, and I'm going to tell you what you should do if your account gets hacked. I'm walking down 2nd Avenue, and I get a text from my best friend. He got a message from me that seemed weird. I'm like, "I didn't message you." He's like, "No, on Facebook Messenger." And I realized I did get hacked. So I went onto Facebook, and I hit the search bar, and I typed in the word hacked. And I clicked on the shortcut to secure your account. They had step-by-step instructions on what to do next. Right after that, the problem was fixed, the messages stopped, and my account was back to normal. 2 days later, I go to the gym, and there's a girl that I have always liked, and she works there. And she came up to me, and she was like, "Hey, I have a question to ask you. I got a really weird message from you." And I was like, "Oh, sorry, my account got hacked. I didn't realize you were one of the people that got a message." She's like, "I didn't think it was you, but it just seemed odd." We laughed about it and just kept talking more and more. And then that was the beginning of a beautiful relationship. I think the last thing anyone would think when you're, "Oh, my account got hacked," is long-term relationship.
In a 2011 study, researchers followed a group of judges, deciding whether or not to offer imprisoned individuals a chance at parole. Logically, one might expect things like an imprisoned person's crime, existing sentence, and current behavior to be the primary considerations. But while those details were duly examined, one variable had a remarkably large impact: the time of day. Imprisoned people who met with the board in the morning were far more likely to receive parole than those whose cases were reviewed in the afternoon, even if their crimes and sentences were practically identical. This finding might seem strange, but the researchers' explanation was simple. In the afternoon, the judges were likely exhausted. Specifically, they were experiencing decision fatigue. This kind of cognitive exhaustion occurs after a period of extended decision-making, and it can make people more impulsive and less confident while making choices. The dangers of decision fatigue are clear in high-stakes scenarios like this study, but it can have a serious impact on our day-to-day lives as well. So what kinds of choices lead us to this state, and what can we do to fight fatigue? Everything our bodies do, whether physical or mental, uses energy. But while it's unclear exactly what resources are depleted during mental strain, studies have found many individuals seem to have a daily threshold for making decisions. And once that threshold is met, most people make the conscious choice to take it easy and save serious thinking about any new decisions for another day. How quickly you reach this threshold depends on several variables, including the frequency, complexity, and novelty of the decisions you have to make. For example, choosing what to eat for breakfast isn't very taxing. Not only is this decision limited by what's available, it's also a choice you expect to make once a day, with fairly low stakes. And even when you're not quite sure what to eat, the time between this minor decision and the next one should give you ample room to recover whatever cognitive energy you expend. But let's imagine something much trickier. For example, your car suddenly breaks down and you need to replace it right away. This is an unexpected, complicated decision with serious consequences. In this case, there are countless options to choose from, and you won't find them all in one place. To make the optimal choice, you'll need to do hours of thoughtful research to consider the various pros and cons. And since this is a decision you don't often make, you'll also have to identify what considerations are most important. The time pressure can add additional stress both during the decision-making process and afterward, as you expend more energy wondering if you would have made a different decision with more time. After just a single decision of this magnitude, most people would have already reached their decision-making threshold. But in professions where individuals need to make multiple high-stakes decisions every day, decision fatigue can be much more dangerous. Judges, like those in the 2011 study, often encounter difficult decisions back to back with no time to recover. Many researchers are especially concerned about decision fatigue in medicine. Doctors often work long shifts full of life or death decisions, and some studies have found that medical workers are much more likely to make critical mistakes when working extended shifts. Addressing these issues requires institutional changes, but there are much more direct ways most of us can avoid fatigue in our daily lives. One simple strategy is to make fewer daily decisions, tackling your to-do list over multiple days, or even removing some rote decisions from your day altogether. It's also typically less draining to offer advice on a hard decision than it is to make that choice yourself. So it can be helpful to imagine your decisions as someone else's before considering how the consequences impact you specifically. Finally, it's essential to remember that not every choice is equally important, and learning how to relax about the small stuff can help you save energy for the decisions that truly matter. Did you know that there's a natural, altered state of consciousness that can provide positive emotions, creativity, and feelings of accomplishment? It's called flow, and we can all access it. Find out how with this video or get more actionable science-based advice on how to build character at ed.ted.com/buildcharacter.
Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Sarah.
We're nesters.
And we're hosts in Columbus, Ohio.
Since 2012, we've been building, renovating, designing, redesigning, organizing, investing, and developing our way to a sustainable Airbnb business. We're sharing our tips with you to help turn your listing into profit.
Here's how to make an Airbnb business plan.
You want to treat hosting like a small business, which means starting with a simple mission statement. Your mission statement will shape how you operate and the experiences you deliver to your guests.
For us, we want to transform spaces that transform lives.
Anything you can do to elevate your listing or make it unique is a chance to charge more in your market. Search real estate sites, explore what other Airbnb hosts, comparable homes, and local hotels have to offer. Do they use dynamic pricing to change their rates on weekends versus weekdays?
The initial research will help you make the right decisions.
Tally your costs by creating a spreadsheet of expenses, which can be divided into 3 categories. 1, upfront costs, which are the things you'd invest into your space before anyone experienced it. Renovations, decor, furniture, photography.
2, ongoing costs, which includes the items consumable by the guests that you'll need to replenish. Toilet paper, towels, light bulbs, cleaning supplies, etc.
3, management and maintenance costs. Think cleaning fees, management fees, or exterior and lawn upkeep. Add up your numbers and make sure they make sense to you.
This is my favorite tip. I always tell people to invite a blunt, honest friend or family member to pack an overnight bag and stay at your listing to get honest feedback. You're so close to your space day in and day out, you don't want a paying guest to tell you about the thing you're missing or the quirk that you don't think about.
Enlisting a friend will help you anticipate guest needs they may forget, whether that's an extra toothbrush, soap, extra pillow. How can you make them feel as welcome as possible? When you're just starting out, it's important that you learn all the ins and outs of the hosting process.
Do the cleaning yourself. Do the turnaround so you understand it. Then you can automate the process. For example, there are apps that allow you to create event triggers. When you get an Airbnb booking confirmation email, it'll trigger a calendar event to whoever is cleaning your place.
There are smart locks, which are really wonderful. Guests can check in on their own, and they'll automatically be sent a code that lasts until the end of their stay. We hope these tips help you and your Airbnb business flourish.
If you need more advice, you can always find us.
I'm Nick.
I'm Sarah, and we're hosts in Columbus, Ohio.
Happy nesting.
The first thing we did was put in a dresser. I'm the kind of person, if I go away for 3 days, I actually will use a dresser. She will never use the dresser. She will just live out of that bag. So there's different styles about how people travel. I wanted to give other options, so I make sure that there's a bench. You can sit on the bench, you can lay your suitcase on the bench. But then, there's not a closet. And one guest wrote in the private feedback, I didn't find a closet. And we were kind of like, well, okay, we're really not gonna put one in. There is no closet, so how do we make one? So we just have hooks in the rafters and made this little pole and just have some wooden hangers there.
But it wasn't yet enough, though. Where are they gonna put these rollerboard luggage things?
The roller bags, yeah.
So we were like, well, let's get them a rack, just like a hotel would have.
So some things are from experience and some things are from us thinking about it and some things are from us actually staying in the room and experiencing it. You add things and it helps you kind of oh, this is actually really nice. I love it.